The Valarian delegation arrived at Earth's orbital station with their noses turned up in disgust. Commander Dexlor, a tall creature with silver skin and 4 arms, looked through the viewing window at the human vessels docked nearby. His thin lips curled into a smile of pure mockery. The ships looked like floating garbage compared to the sleek Valarian cruisers. They were blocky, covered in exposed pipes, and their hulls showed signs of welding and repair work. It was almost embarrassing to witness. These are the creatures that requested membership in the Galactic Council. Dexler asked his aide, a smaller Valarian named Orcs. His voice dripped with amusement. Look at those vessels. They still use chemical propulsion systems. They haven't even discovered quantum folding technology. Their ships are held together with metal plates and hope. Orcs nodded quickly, eager to please his commander. Indeed, sir. Our intelligence reports show that humans have only been traveling between stars for 300 years. They are infants in the cosmic sense. Their weapons are projectile-based. They fire chunks of metal at their enemies. Both Valarians burst into laughter. The idea of fighting a war by throwing metal was so primitive that it seemed like a joke. The Valarians had developed energy weapons thousands of years ago. Their shields could stop any physical attack. A bullet from a human weapon would bounce off their personal barriers like rain hitting a window. The airlock opened with a hiss, and the human diplomatic team stepped forward. Ambassador Sarah Chun was a small woman with dark hair and calm eyes. She wore a simple gray uniform with no decorations. Behind her stood Captain Marcus Webb, a broad-shouldered man with scars on his face and hands that had seen real combat. Neither of them seemed bothered by the obvious disdain in the aliens' expressions. "Welcome to Station Hope," Sarah said with a polite smile. "We are honored to host the Valarian delegation. We hope this meeting will lead to friendship between our peoples." Dexler did not offer any greeting in return. Instead, he walked past the ambassador as if she were a servant. His eyes scanned the station's interior with growing amusement. The walls were made of simple steel. The lighting came from basic electrical fixtures. There were no holographic displays, no floating platforms, no anti-gravity technology visible anywhere. Everything was mechanical, physical, and crude. "Your station," Dexler said slowly, "is quite functional. I suppose your species does what it can with limited mental capacity." Captain Webb's jaw tightened, but Ambassador Chun placed a gentle hand on his arm. She kept her smile in place. This was not the first time humans had faced alien arrogance. It would not be the last. "We prefer practical designs," Sarah replied smoothly. "Our engineers believe in building things that work, rather than things that look pretty." Dexler laughed at this. "I'm sure that is very comforting when your ships fall apart in battle. Tell me, Ambassador, how many wars has humanity actually won? Against enemies with real technology, I mean. Not against each other with your sticks and stones." The insult hung in the air like poison. Several human crew members stopped their work to listen. Their faces showed anger, but they remained silent. Discipline was strong among the men and women who served in space. The next hour was a tour of humiliation. Dexler pointed at every human device with mockery. He laughed at their medical equipment, calling it torture tools. He sneered at their food processing systems, saying they were eating processed waste. He examined a human rifle and pretended to be confused about which end was dangerous. His entire delegation found this hilarious. Through it all, Ambassador Chun remained calm. She answered every insult with patience. She explained human technology without shame or apology. Captain Webb stood silent beside her, his hands clasped behind his back, his eyes watching everything. When the tour reached the command center, Dexler finally showed a spark of genuine curiosity. He noticed a large screen displaying the local star system. Red markers showed the positions of various spacecraft. Most were human vessels, but 3 large signatures sat at the edge of the display. "What are those?" Dexler asked, pointing at the 3 red markers. "Those are Korath raiders. Captain Webb spoke for the first time. His voice was low and rough. "They've been testing our borders for weeks. 3 battle cruisers with full combat loadouts." Orcs pulled out a scanning device and checked the readings. His silver face went slightly pale. "Commander, he speaks the truth. Those are Karth warships. Each one is capable of destroying this entire station in minutes. The Karth have technology far superior to these humans." Dexler's amusement faded slightly. The Karth were known throughout the galaxy as brutal warriors. Their ships were fast, their weapons were powerful, and they showed no mercy. Even the Valerians avoided direct conflict with them. "Perhaps," Dexler said carefully, "we should postpone this meeting. For safety reasons, of course. Your primitive defenses cannot possibly protect us from Karth aggression." Ambassador Chun's smile did not waver. "That won't be necessary, Commander. We have the situation under control." "Under control?" Dexler could not believe what he was hearing. "You have 3 Karth battle cruisers approaching your station, and you have nothing but floating scrap metal to defend yourselves. What could you possibly do against them?" Before Sarah could answer, alarm sirens filled the station. Red lights flashed along the corridors. A young officer at a console called out that the Karth ships had accelerated toward the station. They would arrive in 10 minutes. Panic spread through the Valerian delegation. Dexler shouted for his ship to be prepared for emergency departure. Orcs dropped his scanning device and ran toward the airlock. The other Valerians pushed past human crew members in their rush to escape, but the humans did not panic. They moved to their stations with calm precision. Officers called out status reports in steady voices. Weapon systems came online. Shields activated around the station. It was like watching a machine come to life. Captain Webb walked to the main communication console. He picked up a microphone and spoke one sentence into it. "Imperial Fleet Command, this is Station Hope. Authorization Web 77. Execute Protocol Thunder." Nothing happened for several seconds. Dexler had stopped running and was watching with confused fear. What was this protocol? What could these primitives possibly do? Then space itself seemed to tear apart. Massive rifts of blue and white light opened around the station like wounds in reality. From each rift emerged ships unlike anything the Valarians had ever seen. These were not the small, crude vessels they had mocked earlier. These were monsters of steel and fire. Each ship was kilometers long, covered in weapons that glowed with terrifying power. Their hulls were thick with armor plates layered upon armor plates. They moved with the weight of mountains and the purpose of predators. 12 ships emerged from the rifts. 12 Imperial dreadnoughts, the pride of Earth's hidden fleet. They had been built in secret shipyards far from prying alien sensors. They represented 3 centuries of human engineering focused on one goal: survival. Dexler's scanning device was still on the floor where Orcs had dropped it. It began beeping wildly as it tried to process what it was seeing. The power readings from these human ships exceeded anything in Valarian records. The weapon systems alone contained more destructive potential than entire Valarian battle groups. "Impossible," Dexler whispered. "This is impossible. You were supposed to be primitives." Captain Webb turned to face the alien commander. There was no anger in his eyes. There was something far worse. There was pity. "We showed you what we wanted you to see," Webb said calmly. "The old ships, the crude stations, the simple weapons. Every spacefaring species that visits Earth sees exactly what we want them to see: weakness, vulnerability, an easy target." The main screen showed the Karth ships changing course. They had seen the Imperial fleet appear out of nowhere. They were trying to run. It would not save them. The lead dreadnought, the ISS Retribution, fired its main weapon. A beam of concentrated energy crossed the void in less than a second. It struck the first Karth cruiser and punched straight through its shields, hull, and core. The ship exploded in a ball of fire that briefly outshone the distant sun. The second Korath ship managed to fire back. Its energy weapons splashed against the Retribution's armor and did nothing, not even a scratch. The human ship returned fire with its secondary batteries. Thousands of projectiles, moving at a fraction of light speed, tore through the Korath vessel like paper. The ship came apart piece by piece until nothing remained but floating debris. The third Korath cruiser tried to surrender. It broadcast distress signals on all frequencies, begging for mercy. The Imperial fleet accepted the surrender. Boarding pods launched from 3 different dreadnoughts, carrying human marines in powered armor suits. Within minutes, the Korath ship was under human control. The entire battle had lasted less than 3 minutes. Dexler stood frozen in the command center. His forearms hung limp at his sides. His silver skin had turned pale gray with shock. Everything he knew about humans was wrong. Everything his government believed was a lie. Ambassador Chun walked over to stand beside him. Her smile was gone now, replaced by a serious expression. "You asked how many wars humanity has won," she said quietly. "The answer is all of them. Every single one. We fight among ourselves sometimes, yes. We are violent and stubborn and often foolish. But when we face a true enemy, we become something else entirely. We become united. We become dangerous." She gestured toward the view screen, where the Imperial fleet now held formation around the station. "Those ships are not the only ones we have. We have hundreds more hidden across our territory. We have weapons you cannot imagine and soldiers who fear nothing. We let aliens think we are weak because it is useful. It makes them careless. It makes them reveal their true intentions, just as you revealed yours today." Dexler tried to speak, but could not find words. Captain Webb approached with a datapad in his hand. "Your ship has been temporarily disabled for inspection. Standard security protocol after witnessing classified military assets. You will be our guests for the next several days while we decide what information you can take back to your government." "This is an outrage," Dexler finally managed to say. "The Valarian Empire will not accept this treatment. We have powerful allies. We have the support of the Galactic Council." "The Galactic Council," Ambassador Chun said thoughtfully, "has been watching this sector for decades. They know what we are capable of. They have chosen to pretend otherwise because the truth scares them. You should ask yourself why your government sent you here with no real protection. You should ask yourself what they expected to happen to you." The realization hit Dexler like a physical blow. He had been sent as a sacrifice. The Valarian High Command wanted to provoke humans into revealing their true strength without risking anyone important. He was expendable. He was nothing. Outside the station, the Imperial fleet held its silent vigil. The stars themselves seemed dimmer compared to the power radiating from those massive ships. Humanity had hidden its strength for 300 years, building, preparing, waiting. Now the galaxy had glimpsed the truth. The primitives were not primitive at all. They were patient, they were clever, and they were more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. Commander Dexler finally understood why the humans smiled so often. They were not naive or stupid or friendly. They were predators who knew exactly how powerful they were, and they found it amusing when prey wandered too close. The age of underestimating humanity was over. The age of fearing them had just begun.